It's me again, Faye, still 76, still here. I have been married to the same good man for 54 years, and last month I finally understood that he has never actually met me. 54 years, the same bed, the same kitchen table every single morning. And Earl could not tell you my favorite song, or the one place on this earth I always wanted to see, or what I lie awake at night thinking about. And before you go blaming Earl, please don't. He is a good man. I hid myself that well, for that long, and I did it on purpose. I'm telling you because there is a real chance you are doing the very same thing in your own marriage right now. And you cannot feel it yet. I couldn't either. Thank you for coming back and sitting with me. It landed on me at Wayne's anniversary supper, of all places. Somebody at the table, one of the young ones, asked Earl the old question. 54 years? What's the secret? And everybody leaned in the way they do. And Earl, who is not a cruel man, not for 1 minute, he smiled and he patted my hand, and he said, "Well, Faye here never gave me a lick of trouble. She never wanted much." And the whole table went awe, like he'd said the sweetest thing in the world. And I sat there and I smiled along with them, but something in me went very still, because I heard it for what it actually was. After 54 years, the finest thing the man I love could think to say about me was that I was no trouble, that I wanted nothing. He was paying me the highest compliment he had, and it was, word for word, the story of how I disappeared. I had spent my whole marriage being easy to live with, and I had gotten exactly what that builds. A man who loves me, sitting an arm's length away, who never once had to find out who I am. I was good at it. I want you to understand, it was a craft. For 54 years, the answer was always, "Whatever you want, Earl. Where do you want to eat? Wherever you'd like, honey. What should we watch? You pick. Mountains or the shore for the trip we never took? Oh, you decide." He set the thermostat. He chose the cars. He picked a church. And every single time I told myself I was being easy, being a good wife, keeping the peace. I was so proud of how little I needed. But here's the thing. Nobody tells you about being easy. Every time you say, "I don't mind," you teach the other person that there is nothing in there to mind about. You sand yourself down, one preference at a time, until you are worn plain as a river stone, and just about as known. I have a favorite color. Earl could not name it. I have a song that has made me cry since I was 19. He has never heard me mention it, not because he is a bad husband, because I made sure for 54 years that loving me would never require him to learn a single hard thing. My friend Ruby saw it, of course. Ruby saw everything. You'll remember Ruby if you've sat with me before, my dearest friend. Wore red, traveled alone, said exactly what she thought to anyone in earshot. She was in my salon chair one afternoon watching me agree with Earl on the phone about something I plainly did not agree with. And after I hung up, she looked at me in the mirror and she said, "Faye, honey, that man does not know your favorite color. You've turned yourself into wallpaper in your own marriage. Pretty. And on every wall, and nobody in that house has looked straight at you in years." And I laughed it off. I said, "Ruby, that's just what a long marriage is. You give a little." And she said, "No, sugar, you gave it all." There's a difference between giving and vanishing, and you crossed it about 30 years ago. I told myself she was a twice-divorced woman who didn't understand commitment. I was so sure I had the marriage, and she had the loneliness. I had that exactly, completely backwards. So here is the thing. It took me 54 years and one anniversary supper to understand. There is being easy to live with, and there is being known. And I want to tell you gently because I learned it the hard way. They are not the same thing, and if you are not careful, the first one will quietly eat the second one alive. Being easy is about easing the day. No wants, no friction, no trouble. And it feels like love. It even looks like love from the outside. But being known, being truly known by another soul, that requires friction. It requires you to say out loud, this is what I want and this is what I think. And this is the song that makes me cry. It requires you to be a whole, particular, sometimes inconvenient person, and to let someone bump into all your edges until they have got you memorized. I gave Earl 54 years with no edges to bump into, and so he never got me memorized. I did not lose my husband. He is sitting right across the kitchen table from me this morning. I just never, in all those years, let him meet me. Now, I can hear some of you, the long-married ones especially, getting your backs up. And I understand because I said it myself for half a century. You were saying, but Faye, that's just marriage. That's compromise. You can't both have your way. A good wife gives. A good husband gives. You keep the peace, you pick your battles. That's how you get to 54 years in the first place. And you are right. A marriage absolutely needs two people who can bend. But hear the difference, because it is the whole thing. Compromise is two people, each with wants, meeting in the middle. What I did was not compromise. I removed myself from the equation entirely, so there would never be a middle to find. That is not keeping the peace. That is going missing and calling it generosity. A real marriage is supposed to be two people getting to know each other for a lifetime. I turned mine into one person, Earl, and a very accommodating ghost. And the saddest part is I robbed him too. He didn't marry an easy woman. He married a whole one. He just never got to meet her. And here is what truly broke my heart once I let myself look at it. Two things. The first is my Connie. I watch my daughter in her own marriage now saying whatever you want before her husband has even finished a question, making herself small and quiet and easy. And I know exactly where she learned it. She learned it watching me be the good wife for 30 years. I taught her to disappear by being so very good at it myself. And the second thing, Earl. I always told myself my disappearing was a gift I gave him, a peaceful house, an easy wife, no trouble. But I have started to wonder if Earl has been lonely too, all this time. Sitting across from a woman who would not tell him a single true thing about herself. I thought I was sparing him. Maybe I was just leaving him alone in the marriage right alongside me. Two people being careful and easy and unknown for 54 years in the same quiet house. That is the thing about making yourself easy to love. You think you are the only one who pays for it. You are not. You take the whole marriage down into the quiet with you. So, a few weeks ago, at 76 years old, I started doing the most terrifying thing I have ever done in my own kitchen. I started telling Earl the truth, not big speeches, just the small, true things I had swallowed for 54 years. The first night I said, Earl, I have never once cared for that program you put on. Not in 40 years. He looked at me like the toaster had spoken. And then he laughed, really laughed, and said, "Faye, why on earth didn't you ever say?" And I told him the truth of that, too, that I had been so busy being easy, I never once gave him the chance to want to know. So now Earl and I have a thing at that kitchen table. Every evening I tell him one true thing about me. I told him Tennessee Waltz has made me cry since I was 19, and he put it on the record player that very night, and we stood there in the kitchen, two old people swaying, and he held me like he was meeting somebody brand new. And here is the part that undid me. He started telling me one true thing back. After 54 years of marriage, the two of us are finally introducing ourselves to each other. So here is what I am going to ask of you. This week, not someday. If there is a person you have been married to or beside for a long time, I want you to tell them one true thing, not a complaint, a want, a small, particular, real thing about you that you've been swallowing to keep the peace. Tell them the song. Tell them the place. Tell them I'd actually rather not, or I'd actually love to. It is going to feel enormous and silly and far too late. Your voice may shake over something as small as a television program. Say it anyway. You are not being difficult. You are introducing yourself to the person who is supposed to know you best, and it is never, ever too late to do that. Let them bump into one of your edges. That is not the end of peace. That is the beginning of being known. I am 76. Earl is 78. We do not have another 54 years to get this right. We may not have 5. But we have tonight, and the record player, and a kitchen table where, for the first time in our long marriage, 2 whole people are finally starting to sit down and meet. Do not wait for an anniversary supper to hear your own epitaph. Do not be so easy to love that nobody ever has to learn how. Down in the comments, tell me one true thing about yourself that the people closest to you don't know. Just one. A want, a song, a place. Say it here first if it's easier, and then go say it at home. I'm Faye. Thank you for letting me talk. I'll keep the chair warm for you.